Hi guys, what's up? I am Christina and this is the second episode of our RX Swift series for beginners. In the first episode, we transformed the classic table view app into a reactive one. We had lots of fun with observables, observers, and disposable bags. Here is our view controller. Nice and clean, but pretty basic. Let's make things more interesting and see what I prepared for this episode. Our table view items observable emits now an array of food objects. A food object has a name and an image. Here is the food structure. Pretty simple. Let's see how this looks like in the simulator. Pretty cool. Our app starts to look like a real food app. And in order to obtain this nice look, I defined a custom cell. Food table view cell. Here it is. It has a food image view for the food image and a food label for the food name. Cool. Let's take a look also in the storyboard. Here's our custom cell. And we can notice also a navigation controller and a second view controller named Food Detail View Controller that will get displayed when we select a food from our table view. Let's try it in the simulator. Cool, but we have two issues. The image doesn't change when we select another food, and how do we do this in RX Swift? Let's return to our view controller. And we can notice that the RX items cell identifier method is a bit different from what we wrote in the first episode. I used a different version with a second parameter, cell type, in order to be able to display our food table view cell. And inside the closure, we receive now a food object in the table view item, and so we can update the food label and food image with the name and image from the food object. Cool! What about our first issue, that the image stays the same no matter what food I select? Well, we can see that in the didSelect row at index path method, the image name from the food detail view controller is always set to hamburger. That explains things. Moreover, this implementation is not reactive at all. So let's go ahead and comment it. Here. Then we delete the UI table view delegate, as RX Swift will take care of this. And also from the storyboard, great! Now back to our view controller and let's do some reactive magic. For this, we use the RX extension, table view, .rx, and we select the model selected method. It requires a model type, meaning the model that will be used to display the rows in our table view. And you guessed it right, we put here food.self. This is an observable, so we need to subscribe to it using the subscribe method. The compiler helps make things easier. Now we need to specify what happens when a food object is received. We do that by implementing the closure for the onNext method. let's instantiate the food detail view controller from the storyboard. Self.storyboard instantiate view controller. It's identified by food VC identifier. Here, let's see this in our storyboard to understand things better. So here, if we select the food detail view controller, we can see the storyboard ID set to food VC. It also has an image view, and if we look in the corresponding Swift file, we can see that the image view's image is set to the value from the image name string. Cool! Let's return to our view controller and set the image name. You guessed it, with the name from our food object. So, image. And that takes care of our first issue. Then we push the view controller, navigator, push view controller, our food view controller, and we say animated, and delete the onError, onCompleted, and onDisposed methods, as they are optional and we don't care about them for now. And finally, we take care of the memory management with the aid of our disposable bag. Cool! The compiler is happy, and our reactive implementation is now ready. Let's run the project in the simulator to see if things work as expected. Fantastic! Now the image changes accordingly and our code looks nice and clean thanks to RxSwift and RxCocoa. There is another method that the Rx extension offers for the row selection called itemSelected, where instead of working with the table view model, we use the index path, pretty similar to the classic didSelectRow@indexPath method. Let's see how it looks like, just to practice a little bit more with RxSwift and RxCocoa. So, as before, table view .rx, this time item selected. We subscribe to it here, and we implement the onNext closure in order to specify what will happen when an element is received. So we said index path in, and we don't forget, of course, to dispose to our disposable bag. Here, the compiler is happy again. So, personally, I find the model selected method more useful, but if you need to work with the index path, just remember this one for now. Let us just comment it, as we don't need it. Cool. Let's recap what we did in this episode. We saw how to specify a custom cell when binding our observable to the table view, and we used two alternative Rx methods for the selection of a table view row: model selected, that receives the model object, and item selected that receives an index path. In the next episode, we'll take care of the food detail view controller and make it reactive too. Thank you for watching and press the subscribe button in order not to miss a thing.